Hi everyone, and welcome to another Healthy Eagles virtual session. My name is EnRico, and I'm a health coach at the Pals for Life Foundation. Today, we are going to cover physical activity and exercises for strong muscles and bones. We aim to improve the lifestyle of the entire family, so it's important that the parents also participate in these sessions. Let's go ahead and get started. Physical activity is something that we should engage in frequently. It can be described as any activity in which we exert effort. Unfortunately, as we begin to get older, we replace active behaviors with sedentary behaviors. We participate in sedentary behaviors when we sit or lay down for prolonged periods of time. So when we use our cell phones, watch TV, use our laptops, play video games, stream movies, we are participating in sedentary behavior. We call those activities screen time. We should try to limit screen time to about 2 hours per day. Only 14% of boys and 8% of girls aged 13 to 15 meet the recommended amounts of physical activity that are suggested by the British Heart Foundation. This puts us at an increased risk of chronic diseases, obesity, and sometimes even mortality. There are many health benefits associated with physical activity and living a healthy lifestyle. We reduce our body fat. We also enhance our cardiovascular characteristics. And we also experience mental benefits. Our self-esteem increases, we get better sleep, and we're able to focus more. So having a healthy and active lifestyle benefits us both physically and mentally. The recommended guidelines for children and young adults aged 5 through 18 state that we should engage in at least 60 minutes of physical activity per day. This should occur 7 times a week. 3 of these days should be spent doing activities that strengthen bone and muscles, like vigorous activities. We'll talk more about these types of activities in the second half of today's video. But for now, what's the difference between a vigorous and a moderate intensity activity? A good way to tell the difference is that while you're doing the activity, if you can carry on a conversation, it's considered moderate. If you're having a hard time talking, it's considered vigorous. For example, while jogging, it's pretty easy to talk to the person next to you or have a conversation on the phone. However, while sprinting, it's very hard to focus on the conversation. Some examples of physical activity are, like we said before, jogging or sprinting. They can be cycling, playing football, swimming, going for a brisk walk, or engaging in resistance training. We will now begin to look at the second half of today's topic, exercises for strong muscles and bones. It's important to engage in physical activity that strengthens our muscles and bones because it helps us develop durable and robust bodies as we get older. The overload principle allows us to manipulate factors of our training sessions so that they are difficult enough to stimulate changes within our bodies, but not too difficult, so that we do not injure ourselves. To do this, we follow the FIT factors: frequency, intensity, and time. Frequency stands for how many times in a week. Intensity stands for the difficulty, and time stands for how long. We already know that we should engage in physical activity 7 times a week, with at least 3 of those times being used to engage in vigorous activity. We also know that our intensities should either be moderate or vigorous. And lastly, our time should be for at least 60 minutes per session. So now that we know more about the risks, the benefits, the principle of overload, and the fit factors, let's go outside and see if we can engage in some physical activity that'll help strengthen our bones and our muscles. So now that we know how to set up an exercise session, we can begin to do a small circuit. As an example, I'm going to go for a quick jog and do some stretching. So let's both jog for about 3 to 5 minutes and meet back here. See you soon. Okay, now that I have the blood pumping, I'm going to do a little bit of stretching to get limber. It's important that we stretch and warm up correctly before exercise so that we don't injure ourselves. Alright, let's get started with our circuit. Let's go ahead and get started with our circuit. As an example, we're going to do about 5 stations with 10 reps or 10 seconds for each station. We'll start with push-ups. Now, go into squats. Now, do jumping jacks. Now we're back down into a plank. Let's finish up with some bench dips. Well, that was a tough workout. It was a good way to get outside and get active. As you can see here, I have my water to help me stay hydrated. Today, we covered a lot of topics. We talked about physical activity, as well as the associated risks and benefits. We also talked about exercises that'll help us build strong muscles and bones. We talked about the overload principle and the fit factors. Now it's over to you to fill out your logbooks, as we have provided word searches, a short quiz on physical activity, and even some guidance on how to kickstart your own circuit. Once you have completed it, try it out with your family and friends and see what they think. Once you're done with your logbook, it's important that you fill out the reflection section and send in the completed logbook to the email address listed below. As always, I'm EnRico from the Palace for Life Foundation, and thanks for attending another Healthy Eagles virtual session. See ya.